Welcome to Knowledge TV. If you are new with the channel, please subscribe the channels and click the bell icon for new videos. Today we will discuss a linguistic topic, that is comparative historical linguistic. Historical linguistic are also called diachronic linguistic as a scientific study of language change over time. Five of the principles considered historical linguistic. Number first, to describe and account for observed changes in particular language. To reconstruct the free history of language and determine their relatedness, group them into language families. Comparative linguistic. To develop general story about how and why language changes. To describe the history of speech communities and to study the history of words. History of word is also called etymology. The branch of linguistics whose objectives are the reconstruction of synchronic status unattested in the written record and diachronic process in the history of individual language, groups of related languages. The determination of the origin of language families, language and individual elements in language systems include the determination of genetic relationships between language, that is the common origin of language from a single source. In reconstruction, the theory of language, comparative historical linguistics uses the comparative method, which consists of four basic research techniques: external reconstruction, internal reconstruction, analysis of words, and analysis of toponymic data. External reconstruction. The comparative historical method and the narrow senses consist in genetically identify morphemes in word and related language, demonstrating in these morpheme and words the result of regular sound changes and morpheme in words. In construction, a hypothetical model of parent language or proto-language and the rules for deriving the actual morpheme of the daughter language from this model. When language preserves a rather number of related morphemes and not too complex phonetic history of the daughter language, the result of regular sound changes emerge in the form of directly observed regular sound correspondence between related language. Otherwise, these sound changes can be traced only with reconstruction, the intermediate stage of development. For example, the parent language of groups and subgroups within a language family. Internal reconstruction consists of the five phenomena and relationship within individual language. System that unambiguously attest to the existence of certain elements in early stages in the system history. Example are traces of early allophonic alternations preserved in the form of phonemic alternations in allomorphs, in the survival of earlier morphological structure in archaic paradigm in the form of suppletion. Information canals began from the analysis of borrowed words, but borrowing from language being reconstructed and borrowing to these language as well as from tophonemic data. The reconstruction obtained in one aspect of language system phonology, morpheme, morphology, lexicon, and thought syntax. However, they cannot claim to be historically referent language. They only stimulate the presently available data about the parent language as historical realities. These data are inevitably incomplete because it is impossible to reconstruct roots, phonemic oppositions, and other phenomena that have disappeared. In all of the daughter languages is a result of different temporal relationship of reconstructed phenomena. Such difficulties prevent the precise reconstruction of synchronic status, and reconstructing the phonemes of proto-language linguists do not always have sufficient information for the analysis of the phoneme and to distinct feature, or moreover for the phonetic interpretations of the phonemes. However, the fact that the reconstruction do not give a complete representation of healthy reality, historical reality, doesn't mean the linguists lack relevant information about this reality. The emergence of comparative historical linguistics between 1810 and 1830s is associated with the names of the founder of Indo-European philology, Abov and R. Rask, and the Germanic philologist G. Graham. Graham and the German Indo-Europeanist etymologist efforts set forth the principle of comparative historical phonetics, the foundation of our comparative historical linguistics. The first serious attempt at the construction of proto-language were undertaken in the middle of the 19th century by A. A. Schilder. In addition to the study of Indo-European relationships and research on Germanic language, great progress was made in the second half of the 19th century in other periods of comparative historical linguistics such as Slavic, Baltic, Romance, Iranian, Celtic, Indian, and Semitic philology. The first half of the 20th century also saw important developments in the comparative historical study of groups of Indo-European language. Uralic philology, especially Finno-Ugric philology, Turkic philology, and Mongolic philology. The range of the language undergoing successful comparative historical studies constantly expand includes the Manco-Tangus, Dravidian, Kartvelian, Sino-Tibetan, Malawian, Polynesian, and Austro-Asiatic language, the Hamitic language of Africa, the Bantu language, and numerous groups of American Indian language. Distance language relationships are also studied, including those of the non-triastic language and the language macro families of America, Africa, and Oceania. The result of comparative historical research provides the basis for the genealogical classification of languages and constitute the scientific study of etymology and linguistic paleontology. They also provide historian with linguist data concerning the ethnogenesis and pre-literate history of peoples and the culture and mutual context of ancient peoples. As a result of the development of comparative historical linguistics, the theories of many language families and groups have been reconstructed to considerable extent, including those of the Indo-European, Semitic, and Uralic language. This has advanced the temporal perspective of linguists and has yielded material for the historical typology of language. I hope you understand the historical linguistic are explained in very easy words. So please comment, share with your friend, and subscribe the channels for supporting me. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.